You've landed on planet 412. I'll be your captain of sorts as we navigate this strange, cryptid-filled world. Join me on the quest for truth, through the strange, mysterious, and supernatural. This is Planet 412.
And welcome to Planet 412. As people will be funneling in, I just wanted to take this time to say hello who is in there right now. Paula Hawk. Hey, BJ. How you doing, sis? Giggles the Clown. Susan Butler. Ryan Dye. Thank you guys for being here. I'm really stoked tonight. This is a live stream that I have been. Hey, Logan, how are you? This is a live stream that I have been looking forward to having, and I'm wearing my guys' hats backwards. So the Todd and Brian who are waiting up. I'm gonna have to shut my TV off here. I have my Xbox on. Excuse that, guys. So that turns it on. So the people that are here tonight are old friends of mine. They actually were the very first interview that I ever did for my Dogman experience. And Todd and Brian are great guys. And besides that, they are someone who is one of the better podcasts that is on YouTube. They've been doing it for a long time. You can also find their stuff on Spreaker and all of the audio ones as well. And, what I was starting to say is I've been really excited about doing this live stream, having both of these gentlemen on. Todd has been on here, but I have not got his partner Brian on. So I'm excited as hell to have them on. So before we bring them on, I just wanted to let everybody know, things have been kind of creeping here on the 412. I've been a little behind. I had some stuff going on, but I want to let you guys know I'm actually working on like 3 different videos right now. And for those that are not aware, Todd will be excited to hear that I finally got with the times and did what he told me to do like a year and a half ago. And that's get all of my audio uploaded onto Spreaker and things like that. So without further ado, I am going to bring in the duo of cryptid creatures. We have Todd and Brian. How are you guys doing? Thanks for being here tonight, guys.
Thanks for having us, Matt. It's awesome being on the other side of the mic tonight.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it
is kind of weird. I'm kind of nervous. Are you nervous, Brian?
Yeah, I'm nervous.
I'm a little nervous.
Well, good. I'm glad that means that you guys are ready. One of the things that my ex-college football coach, Jim Trussell, used to tell us was, if you're not nervous, you're not ready. So you guys are ready. And, I'm excited to have you guys as my guests, as I was, alluding to before I brought you guys on. I've been wanting to have you guys on here together for quite a while. And, just things didn't, work out that way for whatever reasons. But I finally got you guys nailed down together. So I'm super excited. Todd, I don't know if you caught what I was saying, but I'm getting all my stuff uploaded on Spreaker and everything. I'm finally catching up with what you told me to do a long time ago.
It's about time, man. It's about time. You got to get that audio out there and put your stuff out there on the podcast so people can, people are driving long trips. They want to check out your stories and everything and listen to your awesome encounter, as everybody knows.
Thank you. What I wanted to have you guys do, if you wouldn't mind, is just, each of you take a minute or two, introduce yourselves, let the 412 know who you guys are and a little bit about your channel.
All right. Brian, go ahead.
Oh, where'd Matt go?
Where'd he go? Are people still out there? Can they hear?
Well, I guess. I don't know if we're still on. I guess.
Oh, let's go ahead. Yeah.
I'm Brian. That's Todd. We have the Cryptid Creatures Show podcast.
Started this like what?
God, it's almost been 5 years now. It'll be 5 years.
It'll be 5 years.
March. Yeah.
We met through work, and actually we met on an Oregon trip. If you guys are listening, I don't know if you were
out in Oregon.
And we knew each other through work, but didn't really know each other personally. And then we found out that we like Bigfoot. Our birthdays are literally 4 days apart, same year.
Crazy.
And we were both doing podcasts on the side, weren't we?
Separate. Yeah, we're doing separate podcasts.
Not about Bigfoot.
Talking and.
Sorry, guys, I had to jump out for a sec.
No good.
Go ahead, please keep talking.
We've been entertaining, I think.
Yeah.
And then that's how we got to do the podcast, and that's been the rest is history. So.
Yeah, we just started talking about it, and Brian and I got together and recorded a couple shows, our first episodes, which, you go back to those first ones, you just kind of laugh at yourself. The first 10 or 15, but, you're starting off, right?
Right.
And everybody does. So that's where we're at. We're just grinding away. 4 years later, we go to shows. We have a great time meeting people, and we just love talking to these people that had the encounters and hearing these stories and putting them out there.
We do love good encounters.
Yeah, so people will start to understand. If I can convince my wife through our encounter stories that Bigfoot's real someday, then I can convince anybody.
She still doesn't believe.
No, but it's funny because she asks certain questions. Like, she'll hear me talk to somebody about something, and she'll say, "Well, what? How do you know it was a male or female?" And I'm like, "Well, because they saw boobs, or they saw." You mean they saw? Yeah, they see that. They see that on Bigfoot. So
they don't wear clothes.
Yeah, they had. Yeah. So and you can see her kind of like her mind's kind of for a second, but anyway.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say my wife, Stacy, I didn't bring her in on, what happened to me. Obviously, it's not something you open up with when you start to date somebody. Hey, by the way, a werewolf almost killed me at my buddies when we were younger. She is definitely someone who is like, harder to convince about certain things. She's, rooted in just, let me put it this way. She always says, Matt, I'm Stacy. She'll say, I'm sunshine and rainbows, and Matt's dark and foreboding. They call me Batman because I'm up really late all the time. I like it darker. I'm into thunderstorms. I prefer like that kind of stuff. And she, when I first told her, what happened, definitely was not, something that was easy for her, obviously, to grasp, first of all. She looked at me like, huh? Seriously? You're being honest, right? And excuse me for a sec as I wipe my nose. When actually I broke that to her and my daughter, it was right before I came on to my interview with you guys. And, I'm wearing the original hat you sent me as well. And, she, I was definitely worried, obviously, about, opening up about something like that. You guys know, obviously, about me being extremely nervous and scared coming on your show to talk about that type of thing. And, everybody knows, when you are going to open up about supernatural, paranormal, anything like that, the first worry is, are they going to think I'm crazy? She has, since that all went down and I opened up with her, she's definitely, because of the things that, she's been privy to through me and the research I've done, and certain people that I've, spoken to, and, I don't really want to get too much into this, but, I've had some things occur where I've been in contact with people that I really can't discuss certain things about it. But I've been given some pretty amazing things since all this stuff has gone out with me on YouTube and stuff, and some of the people I've been contacted by, again, that I haven't discussed and I won't because of their requests. And the request was, hey, if I'm gonna give you this, if I'm gonna talk to you about what this stuff here and show you some of this proof, I just don't want it discussed on your show. I don't want my name given out. And she was privy to some of this. And when she saw some of the more, oomph type of things that has been out there, and, there are some very exciting pictures out there. Like I just to let you guys know, a buddy of mine, his name is David Wolf. He has a channel called Exposing the Strange. It's ETS, and he makes documentaries about Bigfoot and dogmen and cryptids in general. And he has a production company, and we have gotten to be really good friends. He's been on live streams with me, and he is releasing a documentary at the end of this year that I filmed in with him, and went in depth about my experience. And he actually had a really, and I'll send you guys the picture. It'll be in the documentary of a dog man that he caught unknowingly at the time. He was in, I think it was Cuyahoga County. It was in the Cuyahoga, Cuyahoga State Park in the Cleveland, Cuyahoga area, which is really well known for being heavily, traversed by Bigfoot specifically. And he went out through there, and the guy will leave, microphones in woods like for a month, and puts up the cameras and this and that. Doesn't really, and I think you and I, Todd, have talked about this, and I'm sure, Brian, I don't know what your opinion is. When you get the cameras that people leave in the woods, the track cameras, they have IR lights on them. If deer can see these things, it's pretty, in my opinion, believable. And I think the reason none of them ever get good pictures with any cryptids is because they see the light. I really believe that infrared is an absolutely useless light when you're trying to catch Bigfoot, dogmen, those things like that. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it helps. There's got to be, I don't know if there's new technology out now, but yeah, infrared I think is pretty much worthless when you're trying to get
Todd, your opinion?
Right?
And
I've always thought that when it comes to Bigfoot anyway, I can't speak for Dogman. Maybe they're in the same realm, but there's a thing about frequency with these creatures. Mm-hmm. That whole cloaking deal where they can, and I don't think it's a magical thing. I think it's just a frequency thing. I think it's something ability they have, like a chameleon to change colors or what have you. And I also think, from what I've heard, that they can sense, electronical things. They pick up on it. It's like the energy from these things. People talk about their cell phone batteries getting drained, or just so many weird things happening electronically, or you've never pick up Bigfoot on trail cams. Mm-hmm. Hard, or if you do, it's probably fake. So how are they avoiding these things and this infrared stuff too? Now, some people have picked up night vision stuff, right? I don't know if it's infrared or night vision or what the difference is, to be honest with you. But if you look at the film from Stacy Brown Jr. and his dad in Florida, where they caught that creature walking across the tree line.
Yeah.
You know, and there's been a couple other ones where they've seen Bigfoot around some trees and stuff, where they thought it might be Bigfoot, but it's hard to say. You know, it really is. No one's caught. You would think with all the trail cams and everything out there that someone would have, there'd be tons of pictures of these things. And maybe there are, maybe they're just made to keep secret. Who knows?
I agree. And I think a lot of them are being squelched. Any real good pictures that, you know, just the general public, if they catch something, you know, they contact like a news media outlet or something, right away, you know, they're getting hits at whoever in the government deals with these things. And these pictures are being taken and they're not being shared. So, you know, I've always wanted to say, you know, this to, you know, I wish I could get this out like to a Mr. Beast subscriber kind of number. Guys, don't call the police or the National, you know, Forestry Service or, you know, park rangers. They're going to get rid of your stuff. You know, do it on the sly and get it, you know, released on YouTube, you know, or something like that with the right people. Do some, you know, don't be dumb about it. The point I was kind of getting to, I was a little long-winded there. I apologize, but, you know, my buddy has put out, like I was saying, he's put out trail cameras and this and that. He's never really gotten a good picture of certain things. But when he was at the park this one day, he started to hear like, you know, something over this tree line and down a hill, you know, like little trees were being ripped up and broken, or something was like going off in the woods. So what he started to do is to start taking pictures in the area that it was happening. And I can't remember if he has, he might be here. He might end up being here. I'll have to message him, but he might have recording of the sounds he was hearing. But what he did do is when he went home later that day, he started looking through the pictures, and unbeknownst to him, he had actually caught a picture of a dog man. I 100% think he did catch a good picture of it. Not what I saw. You know, we all know from, you know, you guys have done so many interviews. There's different sizes, different, you know, kinds of Bigfoots and, you know, just like different kind of people, there's different kind of, you know, cryptids out there. You know, one of the mindsets on the dogman phenomena is just like you have all of these different breeds of dogs. There's a belief that there is a large number of different breeds of dogmen out there. And you get into some that are human-sized, skinnier, not quite, you know, real beefy, monstery. Just, you know, seems like maybe they would be more on the quicker kind of end of things, built for speed and you know, hiding. So this thing that he caught, I'm going to message him, but it will be in the documentary, and he's also released it on his channel. So it's not like, you know, it can't be shown here. So if I can get him to come by or send me the picture at the very least, I'll share it on here. But very interesting, and I think you guys will really you know, be very interested to see, as well as everyone else that's at the live stream. Real quick, everybody, I just wanted to mention, as people are funneling in here, and they have started to, if you guys wouldn't mind to at least, you know, jump back out, hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it if you're not subscribed. One of the things, and I'm sure you guys have noticed, you know, a lot of YouTuber creators aren't even aware sometimes that most of the people that view your channel aren't subscribed. So if, you know, they would at least just take a second and hit that subscribe, that would be a huge help to the channel. You know, it's a lot of work putting these things together, as you guys know. But you guys have been doing this now for how long?
4.5 years, over 4 years for sure.
Almost 4.5. Yeah, almost 5
we
years.
have what, 230, 40 episodes. We've got some extra members only episodes on our Patreon, Cryptid Creatures, if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, 4 years and still going. I mean, me and Brian are knocking it out every week, talking to people as much as we can.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, so talking about different things. But I got to tell you, Matt, I still have not heard an encounter like we heard with yours. And thank you again for coming on our show first, man. That means so much to us.
Yeah,
we appreciate that. We appreciate you wearing the OG hat.
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna bring those back.
I love this hat. It's beat up, but it looks good.
You need a new one. It looks like you need a new one, maybe.
You send me a new one. I have the new one. It's the
okay.
It's the camo. The one you sent me,
camo
is the camo dog man one.
Yeah, it doesn't say that on the back, which I need to do that. But yeah, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an honor being on your guys' show first. That's something I'll always remember and be very proud of, that, you know, you guys were the first. And I've done a lot of interviews, man. I have done a lot.
But we're happy you chose those first. So
absolutely. Yeah. And the most important thing to me is the relationship that we become friends, and we've known each other for years now. And, you know, again, that's why I was so stoked to have both of you guys on tonight. And guys, thank you again, who are saying that they are subscribing and liking. Make sure, guys, that you go over to Cryptid Creatures on YouTube and you subscribe and like for sure. And
thanks.
I will
appreciate it.
Make sure for sure.
Yeah, we do. Really, we do.
Send me. I didn't get the information to throw into the description from you guys, but if there's something, you know, send me your links and whatever info, and I'll throw it right on to the description of the video, so that anybody that sees it afterwards will be able to find you guys.
Sure.
I had mentioned to you, Todd, before, you know, we got going here, that one of the things I wanted to discuss tonight was a gentleman named Bob Lazar, which anybody that is familiar with, you know, the supernatural, paranormal, cryptid world that we all are living in right now, you have the sect of UFOs, USOs, UAPs, and there's a very, very famous man by the name of Bob Lazar, who, if you're not aware, anybody, is a whistleblower who was supposedly brought in to work on alien spaceships, to reverse engineer UFOs. He worked at Area 51, and not only Area 51, he was at the Groom Lake. What is it? What was the other one? Something 8. I forget it.
Not sure.
There was another area in that Groom Lake that Bob Lazar worked at. Let's see here. I want to get it correct. But what he did, everybody, is he's 66 years old. He was again, brought in to work on classified U.S. projects, reverse engineering of extraterrestrial technology. He also purported to have read government briefings, documents that described alien involvement in affairs of the human race over the last 10,000 years. He is a physicist. Let's see. I wish I could see the other. I know it's in here somewhere, but one of the things that is extremely interesting about him, first of all, a lot of people say, well, how do you know, if this guy's just not, blowing air and this? Well, the people that broke the news stories about him and really did their research on him spoke to, people that worked for the government, and they tracked down everything that he said, and every claim he made and where he worked, there is true backup for him showing that he really did work there and in the areas. In fact, one of the laboratory areas that he worked in, a building that I forget where exactly, but he brought, what's the guy's? There was a news guy that brought George Knapp from the Las Vegas TV station KLAS. He had studied every single thing that he told them, and he was able to find proof of that he really did work for the government. He really did work in these areas. And this one building he did work in that they got to somehow, I forget how, but when he talked about this one building and where everything was held, and he said he walked past a door that had a little square in it, and he saw military standing around a chair, and there was like almost some thing sitting in the chair that was about the size of a child. Gave him the impression it was an alien that they were doing stuff with. Well, this building that he had talked about doing his work in and reverse engineering, when they got inside of it, the guy started just bringing them around saying, hey, yeah, this is what they're, and they're like, you can't make that stuff up. You just can't. And everything that he has claimed, there has been at least some amount of truth to everything. And S4, I'm sorry. The one area aside from Area 51 that he worked at, purported employment at S4, a subsidiary facility he claimed exists near the Nellis Air Force Base installation, known as Area 51. He said that, I believe he said there was either 7 or 9 UFOs that they were working on. And the one thing I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dominate this interview. This is you guys. I want you guys to come in here, but I wanted to bring up this one part I mentioned to you, Todd, was Lazar claimed that he studied the vehicle that was fueled by the chemical element with the atomic number 115, E115, element 115. And it was first synthesized in 2003 and later named Moscovium. He said that the propulsion systems relied on the E15 in a stable isotope, which all have proven extremely radioactive, decaying in a few hundred milliseconds. Now, what's really interesting about this is he said that wherever some of these alien races came from in other dimensions, and wherever this one planet where the element 115 was taken from, they utilized the most, is stable there. We have been trying along with a lot of the other reverse engineering, they were trying to reverse engineer this element, and they just were not able to make it stable. Or if they did make it a tiny bit stable, all it was stable for was just very short time, and they had a tiny amount of it. Now, one of two claims that he made is when he had left working for the government, that he took an actual like chunk that was stable of this element 115. When he was doing a documentary with George Knapp and another guy, one of the newer people, I forget what his name is, I'll have to look that up. He's actually getting to be really famous as well. That's doing documentaries on the UFO and all of that phenomena. They were doing this new documentary, George Knapp and this other guy, and as they're doing the documentary, literally, they find out that the FBI and another government body raided his home looking for something, which was specifically, he said they were looking for this chunk of this element 115 that he ganked from that laboratory. He was also extremely afraid that they were going to kill him. There's video of him learning how to use guns. He had a Uzi. He got an automatic Uzi. There's video of it, him being armed all the time because he was so afraid of being assassinated. And I'm sure, you guys have heard how there have been a number of people that have been assassinated in contact or that have worked with these government programs and stuff like that, making comments to their family. If I disappear, they killed me, yada, yada, yada. This element as well, and then I'm going to let you guys cut in here what also, and I saw this last night, this element has supposedly been made and synthesized and is stable. Russia is the first, now they say US because of the help with the connections that they've made with whatever alien races that they're in cahoots with. But openly, like worldwide, you can look it up. The Russian government has actually, they've made a very tiny amount of this isotope stable. And so this stuff is not fake. It really exists. And, just extremely, mind-blowing and interesting. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Guys, your opinion on, this type of information here with Bob Lazar.
I believe it.
Brian,
Sure.
Here's the thing. I'm surprised Bob's still alive, to be honest with you. If he's telling the truth, I'm surprised he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder a lot, right? But we do know, or we're pretty sure that there's aliens out there. There's too many sightings, too much videos. The government is not denying it. You've got fighter planes out there seeing these things. When it comes to this element, and you're talking about propulsion and all this stuff for all these vehicles that these things are using, from a human standpoint, from an Earth standpoint, there's not one element on this Earth that we know of that we can just take and use to excel a vehicle. Or it's a process, right? You have to break it down. You have to change it to something. So we take we have oil from everything and all the carbon and stuff, and we make gasoline and all this stuff. To just take an element that's in any part of the world and say, okay, it's like is it a crystal that you stick in, like the kryptonite thing with Superman and what have you? So to me, there's got to be some kind of process with this element to use to excel. Now, if it doesn't come from Earth, you got me, because who knows, right? I mean, it could be anything for all we know. But as far as it's concerned on this Earth, and if things are flying around on this Earth, anything that we use to propel our vehicles is a process, right? We just don't suck gas out of the ground, or even we have electricity, but we have to retain it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to store it. We have to have it. So I don't know. Is it that simple? Do they just have a special element that they can just put in there? I guess if that's your question, or are they processing it and using this element specifically and turning it into some kind of fuel for these things? Who knows? I don't know. I always thought, for the longest time, I thought that for the weirdest thing, I thought it was some kind of magnetic thing that they used to just shoot back and forth so fast. Like they had some kind of magnetic control over either the Earth or the atmosphere or something, where they could just boom, boom, boom. I didn't know it was using that, but it's hard to say. Nobody knows, right?
Brian, your thoughts?
I'm sure somebody knows.
Yeah, for sure.
First of all, if Bob Lazar would have ended up dead, if they had killed him for some reason, people would have been saying that the government killed him and they're covering it up, and he was right, and they got everything to hide. So why not just keep him alive and discredit him? Which they've done to great extent. And yeah, I believe that 115 exists. Is it in big enough quantities to use the fuel source? No, I doubt it. That's a lot. So I don't think we're quite there yet. So
yeah, so Todd, too, and I agree, Brian. I don't think we're quite there for having enough of it to make on a massive scale. But let's not forget the comments that have been going on for decades about the technology that the government has versus what the general public is always considered a minimum of 100-year difference. So you look into the triangular shaped UFO phenomena that has been going on for decades as well. Well, we've found out, as in the last at least 5 years, that's our technology. That's the TR-3B, which is a anti-gravity ship type of technology that the United States absolutely positively has. It was reverse engineered and according to Bob Lazar and other whistleblowers, that it was reverse engineered, and that isotope is one of the links in the chain that these anti-gravity ships are supposedly in need of to have this thing do these incredible types of movements that no plane, jet, anything that we are known for having at the moment. And again, the stuff, I just can't imagine the stuff that they have that we have no clue. And again, so many whistleblowers out there. Anybody that is a part of subscribing to my channel, that knows me, that has heard me talk about the UFO phenomena. You guys ever hear of Paul Hellyer? He is the ex-minister of defense from Canada, who is one of the biggest whistleblowers on the planet. He has, and still does, spoken in front of the United Nations, in congressional hearings, One of the biggest voices that has said the human race has been in contact with alien races for, thousands of years, hundreds of years, maybe thousands. He's talked about the Canadian government, the United States, and other, large powered countries is in contact with different races, not just a alien race, multiple alien races, and has been getting reverse engineered. Technology has gotten a little help, bumping it ahead faster. And, some of the things that they've talked about that, like for instance, the United States supposedly has done to get some of this technology moved ahead faster is horrifying. There's been talk that they say, yeah, you can take certain amount of people, you can kidnap them. And, I'm sure you guys have heard of, how what is the Dulce, New Mexico base, and what happened down there, the war that we had with some of these aliens down there, and they found vats of some type of chemical that had human body parts in them. And, so there has been nefarious agreements supposedly going on with some of them. And again, Paul Hellyer has said, yes, this stuff is true. Mind-blowing to think. I mean, Brian, you've been nodding your head yes, so obviously you know who he is. What's your thoughts about Paul?
I've seen him speak many times, and some of the people in Canada think he's crazy. I 100% believe him.
Oh, for sure. And what a damn shame, guys, is you have ex-minister of defense, a guy who worked that job for decades, so respected, and there's people out there, trying to discredit him, and that's the governments themselves. Let's make him look crazy, guys. He's getting old. Let's say he's an old man. That's, and we know how this goes.
What about the guy? Who was the guy? I can't think of his name, and I apologize. I was trying to look it up a second ago. Who talked about the underground alien bases, and they went down in this elevator, and he had a guard with him, and
he got hit by a laser, and it burned
he shot
him.
like part of his hand off.
Yeah, my last live stream, we talked
the guy
about
ended up dead. He was
fataled. He was assassinated.
Somebody came in. He was in a wheelchair for something. I can't remember what it was. But then he was somebody strangled him with a surgical cord.
I'm gonna look it up.
They called it a suicide. They called it a suicide, which was amazing to me. What was that guy's? I cannot think of that guy's name.
I'm looking it up now. If somebody can get that name out here quicker than I'm doing it.
There's a couple documentaries on this guy, and he went talked about it. It was in around Area 51 or somewhere like that, or Dulce or something like that. Went down underground and had that experience go on.
Yeah.
Started talking about it, and then next thing you know.
Well, they've played his interview on Ancient Aliens many times.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Paul Benowitz. No. Is it Paul Benowitz?
I don't know if that's it. Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar to me.
No, it's not Benowitz. It was another guy. If anybody can get it up before I can look it up.
Somebody will come across his name or remember
it. Yeah, they will for sure.
Crazy.
But yeah, Paul Schneider. Thank you, Mike.
Paul Schneider. There you go.
Yeah, and he was, so just to let everybody know what you're bringing up, Todd, he was working for the government, like he was a subcontractor, and they had stuff they were doing in Dulce, New Mexico at a base, and when they were digging, they had an elevator that like something broke through when they were digging, and noxious smoke and fumes were coming through. And when he went down this kind of 2-person kind of elevator thing. He had a guard with him, an MP, I believe. They were met by different aliens, and the one MP started shooting, killed one, and then a large, I remember the one, he said it was like the real tall one, shot some kind of laser beam at him and burned his hand, like his hand was gone, partly his arm. He had all horrible scars, and he was dying, and he said that this MP gave his life to save him because he threw him back in the elevator and sent it up, and as he's going back up, this MP is shooting and fighting with these aliens. He was eventually killed. So yes, that's an incredible story. He made the rounds doing many conventions and all that. He as well said, if I disappear, guys, the government has killed me. And they did. They got rid of him 100%. They found him in his house. What was it? He was like tied up with like medical tubes, like rubber tubes. Like somebody tied him up and killed him.
They strangled him with the surgical cord, is what.
That's what it was.
I think they showed pictures on the documentary. Yeah, and they said it was suicide. They said he did it to himself, and he was horrible shape, just blue and bloated, and
yes,
yeah, it's obvious that he was saying too much, and that's crazy. Why? Are these things underground? Are they living inside the earth? Is that where they're coming from? Are they coming from the moon? Are they coming from another? What's going on here? I mean, the moon. Well, are they? So I mean, are we living in different dimensions? Where like, is Bigfoot in his dimension? Are humans in our dimension, and are aliens in another dimension? And we're all living on this earth or in this earth, but they're flying around in spaceships because they're way more advanced than we are. We think that we're the most advanced ones on this planet.
That's a joke.
Within this, we're more advanced than Bigfoot, right? Because we're humans and where we're at. But who knows that? How do we know that there's not something more advanced inside this earth or around this earth, like these aliens that are just out there just flying around? And maybe that's why they're not. Why aren't they messing with us? Why aren't we having the remember the series V, where the aliens came down and said, "Oh, we greet you humans," and why isn't that happening? If they're around here, why aren't they making contact with us? Why aren't they?
It might be happening. We don't know. Like Matt said, the government's made deals. How do we know how these people that are disappearing are
right?
Food.
And I'm glad that you guys mentioned about dimensions, because there's a lot more discussions and thoughts these days about that aliens, different races of them, are coming from different dimensions versus just coming from different parts of our solar system. And I hate when it's always said the known universe. Man, nobody knows about our universe. It's so absolutely impossible to even fathom how huge it is. And people make comments like the known universe. It's not known. It's much better known by some of these other races. And again, there are, and according to some of these whistleblowers, many agreements. There's many different aliens out there. There's always been, discussion about Hollywood leaking different things that are actually true going on. And one of the things that whistleblowers have talked about Hollywood discussing is, they're doing soft, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, come on, guys, help me out. When they're giving information about the aliens, and it's called soft. Somebody help me out here. I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
I'm not sure either. It's like a leaking information, or
yeah, that's basically what it is. Soft disclosure.
Okay,
and that's what Hollywood has been doing for a long time. Is they make these movies, they
They've
talk
been doing
about
that
certain things,
for years.
and yeah, they're doing that. Thanks, Rob Hall, for saying that. So there is supposedly, you know, so many different kinds of alien races out there, but they say there's at about a dozen that there is like a really close kind of knit agreement and different things going on with these different 12 races, and a number of them are here to help. One of the reasons, and we get that old bullshit kind of comment of you're not ready to hear the truth. I think the human race is to the point that we could handle hearing about there's proof of aliens and stuff. I don't believe this to hide it from people. Now, obviously, certain people are going to flip out and they're not going to be able to handle it. I think as a whole, the human race is because of watching movies and things like that, we can handle that. But these 12 races, they're supposedly, some of them have very nefarious actions towards the human race that these other ones are trying to stop and not allow. And the number one negative alien race out there is supposedly called draconians, which are reptilians. They're like, I'm sure you guys have heard about these before. They're the reptile race that's warlike, very violent. They're supposedly have been here for a long time and were here before the human race was. They live underground. They're able to change from human form to their regular form. I don't know if you guys have heard some of there's one very believable rumor of where Justin Bieber was supposedly went to Australia, and they had like dozens of people saw him supposedly change into a reptile like creature. You never heard that, Todd? Brian, you're nodding your head yes. I mean, very, very like a very big group of people that you can't get, like 50 people to lie to say. There was like almost like 50 Australians saw him literally start to change into a reptile creature. There's also these videos out there. I don't know if you guys have seen them of people like videotaping their eyeballs and they blink like a reptile. That's some crazy stuff right there. What's his name? Anybody know the name of the lead singer from Smashing Pumpkins? I can't think of it right now.
Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan has very, very believable story he tells. He's done this many times where he talked to Howard Stern. He talked to a few other people, much more respected people that he gave his story of he knows somebody that is able to change themselves from a human being into another type of whatever. They're like an alien, and he saw them change. They've changed in front of him, and he spoke about like their eyes doing the same thing we just discussed, and a lot more stuff coming out there. What do you guys think about how there's a lot more? I've really gotten into the paranormal, supernatural kind of ghost thing over the last couple years, especially the last year. I've gotten really into it. I've really started to research it. One of the things I'm going to do on the channel, and I was going to throw this out there to you guys too, I'm going to be going this summer to a couple places where they're very well-known haunted facilities. Like, they have places you can go, like they've been on certain TV shows and stuff. And I'm going to go and I'm going to record for Planet 412, and I'm going to go and go into these places. And some of them are considered one of them, some of the most haunted places in the world. Like there's this one spot that is in, I think it's in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, which is only like 40 minutes from my house. And I forget the name of the place, but I'm going to go with that David Wolf guy that from Exposing the Strange, we're going to record. The point I'm getting to right here is, what are your guys' thoughts on it? Really seems that there has been a very large uptick of supernatural and paranormal things that are going on these days. What do you think is going on that would maybe some kind of hidden, meaning behind why there's more things starting to happen globally in that kind of realm?
Well, I guess it depends on what you believe. I mean, if we're talking about end of the world stuff, yes, the veil is thinning. So I think we're getting closer and closer to the biblical end, because as the closer we get to it, the thinner the veil is getting, the more we're seeing, like you said. There's more paranormal. The dog man is bigger. More Bigfoot sightings, more alien sightings.
Do you guys have
I think we're getting closer.
And I agree. And I'm glad you used that term, the veil, because that's something I discuss all the time. I feel like we're on the cusp of something really huge happening. And I hope there is a massive disclosure coming. But even if our governments don't disclose, I think something's going to happen where we don't even need to worry about the government doing this. Todd, do you have any thoughts on why maybe these things have started to become more?
Well, I will say this. Technology is way more advanced nowadays than it was 50 years ago. We have the knowledge, the know-how. As we grow as human beings, our knowledge increases on everything, whether it be paranormal or not. More and more people are getting this paranormal stuff. More and more people are coming forward and talking about it. And I just think the exposure's out there so much more nowadays. I don't think it's necessarily any bigger than it, well, probably, but it's not like it's just blew up out of nowhere. I think it's been there. I just don't think that people were talking about it as much, and I don't think people had the knowledge or the willpower or the tool. I'm sorry, the tools like cell phones and social media and everything else. But we TikTok, you name it, out there. So many things are getting posted out there every day, and so many groups are getting created nowadays where people are not afraid to come forward and talk about UFOs because the government is not denying it, right? So you're not going to be called crazy now, right? Podcasts like ourselves, where we're bringing guests on talking about Bigfoot and dogman encounters more and more and more every day. It's being more accepted because people are hearing more about this.
Mm-hmm.
So it is growing in that aspect, as far as our knowledge of it and are accepting it and talking about it. It could have always been there. I don't know. You talk about the dog man and you go back to France in the 1700s and the Rougarou and all that stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
So they've been around for a long time, supposedly, right? This didn't come. The movie The Howling and the werewolf theory wasn't just brought out of somebody's head.
Right.
People are seeing these things. You saw that thing.
Right.
So
I just wanted to mention real quick, we can go even further back into the Bible and we talk about the cynocephaly that was a island of dog people, dog-headed men and women, and it's connected to, I believe it was Saint Christopher that had gone to this island, and these creatures called the cynocephali, which they believe are the precursor beings to dogmen.
Who knows what God created? Who knows what our creator or creators created to put on this earth? I think it was just given like, okay, well, I'm going to make this, I'm going to make this. If you were given the power to create any kind of creature, wouldn't you not just keep creating different kind of creatures in different forms?
Yep.
I'm going to make a wolf, but I want to make one that's kind of between a wolf and a man. And I want to make a man, I want to make a gorilla, but let's put something in between that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just get out there sometimes.
No, that's a good point. Talking about cryptid creatures, your shows, guys, what in terms of the guests that you've been having on, say, in the last year, have you noticed like a change in the amount of different types of cryptids that have been coming out more in the types of interviews you've been doing? Has there been a change in more dogmen?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Dogman's coming out of the woodworks like crazy. And, we're hearing more about rakes and skinwalkers and creatures like that. Honestly, it's a struggle, Matt, to be honest with you. We want Bigfoot encounters because we know people love those things. But it's not hard to find something other than Bigfoot encounters nowadays. Sometimes we try to schedule our shows so we at least have a Bigfoot encounter every other episode because we know people love those things, but we could go for months on end not having a Bigfoot encounter. We could be talking about dogman
and aliens,
the paranormal, the Hat Man. There's so many things out there that people are seeing over and over and over that can't just be made up in these people's minds, because you hear the same things
forward with now more than used to.
Yep.
Which is that makes me happy that you mentioned that too, because not even that long ago, there was a vast difference of the amount of people that have the cojones now to come out and talk about their experiences versus shutting up and deciding never to talk about it, being afraid of what people are going to say about them. And now, because of channels like ours, we are giving a ability to these people who are afraid, that are terribly scared to be called crazy, or their families to be, bothered about, them speaking about what happened to them. And now, because there are forums out here where, I always talk about Planet 412, 100%. This is a safe haven to anyone that has had any type of experience. You will not be made fun of, called crazy, anything like that. And I know 100% that's what Cryptid Creatures does as well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, definitely.
Same with our show.
We want people to come on and talk about their encounters so we can get the word out there and obviously make them feel better, right? I think when people talk about these things and get this off their chest, it helps them a little bit. Matt, and I don't remember why you decided to finally talk about it and come forward about it, but this was a long time ago when you had your encounter. What made you finally come forward on our show, I guess, and to tell that story?
Well, you guys know that I've had a lot of health issues over the last, specifically like 4 or 5 years. I literally died for 97 seconds on April of 2022. I lost my right leg, complications from a couple surgeries I had, and I've had other, I'm right now 33 surgeries and counting, lifetime. I've had a lot of stuff happen, but specifically when I had my leg unfortunately amputated, I had fallen, just to let everybody know, if you're not aware, I'd fallen a couple times. And I'm sure it's not hard for anybody to understand, you have one of your limbs taken, you're not going to know how to get around or move around. And not long after I had it, I fell a couple times just moving around in my wheelchair. And literally I had fallen straight down on the limb. And what happened was the sutures started to unravel. Long story short, I had the artery burst in that leg and I bled out and I died for 97 seconds. And I had a real near-death experience. I've talked about this on my channel and some others before. And when that happened and I started to really, I played Division I college football and you in that mindset of doing things like that, you play a sport like football your whole life, and you kind of get this mindset, and especially when you're younger too, you guys know, you just kind of have a thought of you're invincible in a way. You're not going to die. You're going to be around forever. And when this happened and I had all that go down, I realized that, how fragile life really was and that I could be gone in a heartbeat. And when that happened and when I had my near-death experience, I saw my dead mother and father, and that really affected me amazingly positive. It was very positive to have that happen, but there obviously were a lot of negatives to what went down too. I still have severe PTSD from what went down when I was bleeding out so what happened is my home health care nurse saw that it had unraveled. You could literally look through a hole like this in my leg and you could see like bone and everything. And he sent a picture to my surgeon, and my surgeon said, "Oh my God, tell him he has to go to emergency immediately. The artery could burst in his leg, he could die." And he was foretelling what was going to go down. I went to a hospital in the area that I live in. He said, oh, he'll be fast tracked. They won't make him wait. Well, I ended up basically waiting for about 5 hours. No one had saw me. So I called my wife and I said, "Come get me. I'm leaving." No one has yet to see me. They were supposed to fast track me. The only person who looked at my leg was the triage nurse, and she said, "We'll get to you." Well, they never got to me. I rolled myself out front of this hospital to wait for my wife, and that could have burst then. I could have died sitting in the wheelchair in front of my hospital. No one ever checked on me or anything. I got in the car with my wife, sat in the front seat. My daughter was in the back seat. She was I think she was only like 14 at the time, and we're driving home, and on the way home the artery burst, and I bled out about almost 3 pints of blood in the car, and my family has PTSD from it. I lost consciousness twice before I ended up dying, and I have, sometimes it just comes back. I just can't help but the flashback. And when I ended up still living, they had told my wife, "Say goodbye to him. He's probably not going to make it." And when I came back from the near-death experience, well, my buddy likes to say, "You had a death experience. You died. It wasn't near-death." I ended up waking up on the operating table right after I saw my mom and dad. And the next, after they put me out, I'm going out thinking this is probably it. And I woke up and, in the, what's the one area of the hospital? It's like the severe area they put people. What's it called?
Urgent care.
Yes, yeah, like that. So the next day, I was just my normal self. They had put like 12 bags of blood in me and bunch of plasma, and I like people were in awe, like the residents and the people that worked on me and the doctor that saved my life, and they couldn't believe I was still alive, and they're like, "Oh my God, you look normal. We just can't believe you." I was just cracking jokes, and long story short is, after that happened, I just decided that I'm not gonna hide that anymore. That came into my mind, and I was just like, this really happened. These things really exist. I've never shared this with anybody other than my father when it went down and my buddies that it happened with. And it just clicked. It just, was like, no reason to hide this anymore. I'm going to let people know that, there's this other realm just beyond our veil, the veil, and it's, these things are out there. And, I'm, again, sorry guys, I don't mean to keep talking. And, it just made me realize people needed to understand that these other things exist out there. And so, long story short, as my wife would tell me, shut up, you're talking too long. That's the sports broadcaster in me. And that's what went down, man. It just, was too much to, hide. And there you go.
Well, we're glad that you decided to come forward and, man, be on our show. With it. Right. Episode 116, Something Out of a Nightmare, is the show. If people want to check it out on Cryptid Creatures, just throwing that out there for you guys. But like, we always say this too, for every person that comes forward like yourself, there's got to be 3 to 5 out there that just won't do it. So.
Oh, for sure.
Which tells you there's a lot more sightings and encounters out there that we know of.
Agreed. Thanks, Alex, for telling me. Intensive care. That's right. So what is, and I'm going to this is about you guys. So again, I apologize for talking too long here. Getting back to you guys and Cryptid Creatures, what is one of the over the last year, what is like the interview that is really bam, that has just been like, holy cow, man, this blew our minds over the last year?
Oh man, Brian, you got one in mind? Or I almost got to go back and look because there's so many.
I know. We've done, we do so many.
Can I say that the ones that stand out to me in our 4 years, there's plenty. There's been a couple where we've had guys encounter Bigfoot where they've had a gun pointed at them, almost shooting them. Yours, of course, definitely has stand out to us. I don't know how you guys dealt with seeing that creature like you did and where you're at, and the whole train whistle and that thing happening. I mean, the circumstances were just amazing. What would have happened had that train not come by?
Oh, I wouldn't be here.
Another one that stands out is a guy that had shot and killed a dog man. His brother and him are hunting.
Joe Barger.
We didn't get Joe on. That's a different one. Trying to get him on, man. I did reach out to him.
Trying to
get him. Anything back. But yeah, that's a great one too. But I think this guy's name is Randy.
Okay.
took a couple shots as this thing was charging his brother. His brother was shooting at it, and it actually got to his brother, and it took a swipe, and he ended up shooting it in the temple. And they always say the same thing, Matt. Like you said, it kind of looked like the werewolf from Van Helsing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That black and your pictures that Sibylla Irwin drew. That kind of concept. And hearing those things, I might be getting off track here, but hearing those over and over and over about that creature. I mean, you guys aren't making this stuff up. It's not like you got together and said, let's talk about this. Let's make up this Dogman thing and and it look like this details. But those stand out. So I think you said in the past, 100 episodes, or I can't remember. Last year.
Yeah, we're the last year.
50 episodes. I mean, gosh, there's so many. I just have to go back and look, to be honest with you. But those that I talked.
I think the latest one, the latest rate, the one that we just did not long ago. That was good.
Surprisingly was a popular episode. That one got a lot of listens. That one jumped way up on the scale of all-time listens. The rake in the road. You've heard of the rake before? The rake creature?
Of course, yeah.
This guy was driving in Indiana and came across this bridge, and this thing was in the middle of the road and
right on the border of Ohio. Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's got pictures. We put it on our group page. If you guys want to check it out, Cryptid Creatures on Facebook. There's pictures of like 5 scrapes, like dust scrapes along his truck, and they're not a hand because they're way too big to be like a human hand. So, but he said this thing kind of reached for his truck as he was driving by and kind of like
scratched the side,
grabbed at it, and when he got home, he took these pictures and sent it to us.
That's crazy. So, it's interesting that you brought up the rake, because one of the next questions I was going to ask you guys about is some of these cryptid creatures, shot to your channel again, out there. You get into the rake, and there's been a lot of discussion over the however many years that the rake is a creepypasta kind of creature. But you do hear some people, the researchers, that talk about, and this goes way, way back in time, that, if you talk about something so much that sometimes these things are almost willed into existing. I'm sure you guys have heard that before, that, this thing was always thought to be made up, again, a creepypasta thing, but because so many have actually started to talk about and believe in it, that they might have even caused this thing to be. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it could happen. And that's why Native Americans don't talk about skinwalkers.
Yeah,
great point.
There is a concept to that. The more that you talk about something, the more that it can be. And who knows? Maybe maybe people talk about it so much, and then maybe somebody says, "Well, let's just put one down there and see what people say." I don't know. Is it just for manifestation from our minds? It's hard to say. I go on the fact that people have seen these things before. It's not a folklore. It actually comes from true sightings and true things that have been around for a long time. I do believe that the Indian, the whole burial ground thing and all that stuff, there's something to that. What it is, I don't know. Did God give them kind of special powers to be able to reincarnate themselves as these creatures or something weird, or these skinwalkers? I don't know. There's more to this earth than we know and that we're taught to know, and then probably we won't know until after we're somewhere else.
We may never know.
We may never know.
Getting into, I like that you brought up skinwalkers, because one of the things I was actually going to ask you guys about was Skinwalker Ranch. Obviously, so unbelievably well known, and a one of the most feared places on the planet that a lot of people want to go see. What are your thoughts on Skinwalker Ranch and why it seems like that is a crux point, so to speak, of everything supernatural paranormal on this planet?
I don't know. It's just I think it's just something about that area that is just super sensitive to the paranormal. I don't know. If I knew, then there wouldn't be a show.
I wonder if
I
there's
haven't got
something.
to watch. I haven't been with the new season yet, so I don't really know what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch. But I would love to get out there and see it.
I would love that. Would you guys go if you had the opportunity?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
kidding me?
What are your thoughts
Absolutely.
on, and we'll stay, and I agree 100%. One of my biggest bucket list places I want to be able to go to. There's actually places surrounding there that you can get to. And it's still in that Uinta Basin, and that you can have experiences. There is, you guys ever watch Portals to Hell with Jack Osborne? His one buddy, he did a show that was, it's called like Strawberry Ranch or something. His buddy owns a bed and breakfast that's right on the other side of Skinwalker Ranch. Have you guys seen that episode? So he, and everybody, if you see on the screen right now, we have Cryptid Creatures YouTube link. It's also in the chat. Make sure you guys go over there and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Make sure you guys keep going over there. Remind everybody to go over there. They have a great channel. I'm not just saying that because these guys are my buddies. I listen to their stuff all the time myself, and I honestly don't listen to too much. I'm always so busy. I just don't find time. But one of the very few podcasts that I throw on in the car or when I'm doing work at home, it's Cryptid Creatures. You guys do an amazing job. So, and you make a great point with the audio side of things. Like, guys, if you're going to work in the morning, or you have a long drive to work or from work, obviously you can't watch video in the car, even though I will sometimes throw my phone on and put the video. You want to have a great listen, man. They got all of their shows that you can listen to in the car. You don't have to worry about taking your eyes off of the road. Cryptid Creatures is a kick-ass channel, guys. Make sure you go over there again and subscribe, like, and smash that bell.
Thank you.
You guys, you're welcome. And I'm gonna have to look up the name of that bed and breakfast. But you guys, obviously, I would assume you're familiar with ley lines.
Yeah.
Heard of that, but I'm not sure what it is.
Brian, so you are familiar. You want to let everybody
draw the lines of energy that goes, around it circles the entire planet. They go, north and south, east and west. They go all the way around. Some people say that Stonehenge is on there. The pyramids are on a ley line. It's where they say the aliens get their energy mostly from, and other things, among other things.
And they can line up with the magnetic resonances that go around the earth.
Right.
These lines aren't like specific about where they are, but it's ironic when you look up certain areas. And Two Shadows, thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate it. You hear of places again like Skinwalker Ranch and where I live in the Youngstown, Ohio area, we actually have a ley line that goes right through the Youngstown area. You have a lot of these paranormal, supernatural hotspots all around the world. 9 out of 10 times these ley lines are running underneath these spots. So I agreed with what you said there, Brian, is these supernatural paranormal beings and whatever else is utilize these ley lines to feed themselves the area. That it's probably also like a mark on the map for some of them. Oh, that's where I can gas up and get my my UFO going. And very interesting, and the things that go on around here. Let's see real quick here. I want to look up.
I've never heard of ley lines before, and that's very interesting that you guys are talking about that.
Really?
Yeah, it almost sounds like a way to travel from A to B, possibly with these entities or something.
That could be too.
You talk about dimensions. I can just get on this ley line and go from here to here and be like, boom, here I am or something. I don't know. Never heard.
That could be too.
I haven't known about this.
Well, definitely now there's something for you to do some research on.
My goodness.
I thought I knew everything.
Don't watch H Aliens. We talk about them on there all the time.
Okay, well, that's my problem. I'm not watching that.
I am actually looking up.
I told you.
You did. He tells me all the time, you better start watching Ancient Aliens.
I watch it every day.
There's going to be a quiz in a week, Todd. So.
That's right.
Giorgio Chukios or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, yes. He's got the crazy hair.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. So what I was just mentioning, everybody, the bed and breakfast that is Jack and Katrina check in a full investigation on portals to hell. It's called Strawberry River Bed and Breakfast, and the episode on portals to hell that they went here, and I highly recommend that everybody goes over and watches this episode. What I want to get the right. It's not telling. Season 1, episode 8 of Portals to Hell. And his buddy has them come there because he's spending all this tons of money making this beautiful bed and breakfast, and it hasn't opened yet as of this recording. And he brings them in there because so much crazy stuff is on, and there's a family who does construction there, and the mother and the grandmother talk about an alien, like a gray, that had come this one day they were there. And I mean, it's really disturbing. And his buddy talked about, and he actually had from afar a picture of what he said he couldn't really tell if it was a Bigfoot or a dog man. He said, but we get different cryptids here. He said, one day I was on my horse and I see from afar a gigantic, hairy, man-shaped creature. And he took a picture of it, and it's, again, from afar. So, but what he starts to do is he's like, I want to see what the hell this thing is. And he starts to chase it on his horse, full out gallop as fast as his horse can go. This thing outruns his horse, which is mind numbing. And he said, my horse, I just couldn't keep up with it. And this thing's running on 2 legs and it's smoking my horse. They have some really cool stuff on this episode. Jack Osborne, come and do an interview on my channel. I'm giving a plug to your show. Season 1, episode 8, Portals to Hell, guys. Check it out. Very awesome. And Ascension, yes. Wrong one. Yes, it is. My buddy Josh Nanokio from What Lurks Beneath, him and I are extremely good friends. He's one of my best friends. Sent me and my wife and my daughter What Lurks Beneath shirt, and I'm going to tell you what, super soft and nice. And just to remind everybody, don't forget, Planet 412 now has merch, so you can go and get t-shirt, sweatshirt, coffee mug, bottle of water. I saw your bottle that you had. It's really nice. Stickers, something you told me make sure that I get for the channel with stickers. So something I finally have got done. Let's see here. We have some questions. Guys, please throw questions out. Make sure you put them in all caps. If you have any questions for Todd and Brian, throw them out there. Lee Crisp has a question here. Hey, Matt, do you know why the U.S. and Russia are pouring billions into a hydrogen collider? I do not. And you guys have no idea on that as well. I would assume, just like the other collider that they have these colliders all across the planet. Some of them are absolutely gigantic. They say, oh, we're just, trying to make the Big Bang again, figure out how the universe, came to be. No, they're not. They're trying to make different types of fuels and that, something. I'm glad I just remember this, and I want to thank Lee for saying that, because I wanted to bring up with you guys a very shadowy entity out there called CERN. I'm sure you guys have heard of CERN before. CERN is also behind these colliders that they have around the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have heard some of these very, very believable whistleblowers out there who have worked for CERN and were let go for whatever reason. Gotta kind of imagine that because they're whistleblowers. Speaking about some of the things that CERN has done. Now, in some of the areas that CERN has their labs and colliders, they have these demonic statues out in front of their buildings. Some of the rumors that have come out over the last, say, 5 years, has been when they are testing these colliders, they actually are trying to open up portals to other dimensions. And one of the strongest whistleblower believable things that have happened is this scientist and he backed up who he is, and he worked for them, and that they were working on opening portals to other dimensions, and that, in his opinion, the only way he could describe it is they opened up a portal to hell or a place just like it. And creatures came through this portal, killed people, pulled some of them into the portal before they could close it. What are your thoughts on these types of entities around the world, meaning these shadowy government type black budget entities that are doing these crazy things, opening up portals to other dimensions and things like that? Some of them, like they're saying they're doing a collider, figure out how to do black holes, and people's fears that, if they end up opening a black hole in one of these, and end up destroying the planet. What are your thoughts on some of these black budget, super secret, government type things going on out there, doing things like that? Thoughts on the potential dangers from opening portals to other dimensions?
I don't think that we can do that. I mean, I think we're wasting tax dollars, to be honest with you, if that's what's going on. I can't say for sure, but there's only so much capacity that the human can do, right? And if this is stuff that's beyond our means, I mean, if they are, prove it to me, show me. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff that goes on in this world that is fakeated, and I always say, believe nothing what you hear and half of what you see. So, is it possible? Sure, anything's possible, but I don't know. I mean, I think these guys are just kind of grabbing at straws. I mean, yeah, they can do a lot of stuff. They can spend a lot of money. They can develop a lot of things that may appear to do things like this, but I don't really think that they're pulling in demons or creatures out of nowhere and just, oh my gosh, we opened a portal. I don't know. You know, I don't think we're supposed to know that stuff, even if it's out there. I don't think that's our realm.
Now, obviously, like and going back to Skinwalker Ranch, you know, they've had video and people talking about that they've actually seen portals open and beings come out of them. One of the more famous stories going on at Skinwalker Ranch is a portal opened when two people working security up on the mesa saw like a shadow being creature come out of a portal that opened and closed, started running up this mesa towards them at an ungodly speed. They started to prepare to be getting in a battle with this thing, and it just disappeared. They've also saw portals open up and types of ships come out of them on Skinwalker Ranch. So obviously other beings are utilizing portals, other technology. They say, you know, I've heard the thought that some people believe that Bigfoot can open portals and walk in and out of them. You know, what me and my friends saw the dog man do that night, if you recall, when it was leaving the building the last time we saw it, it turned in kind of like this black amorphous shadow. It looked like, you know, possibly it had blinked out, like went through a portal, something like that. So, I mean, thoughts on beings actually being able to create something like that and go in and out of them?
Why not?
What do you think?
There's so many. If there are the aliens or whatever there is out there, and they're so far more advanced than we are, why can't they have portals already? I've heard that.
Right.
I've heard those rumors about CERN and the Hadron Collider. I've heard those rumors about portals, and I believe it. I believe that's exactly what they're trying to do.
I agree 100%. And
portals that they're opening out in Skinwalker Ranch, those are natural. The portals that they're trying to open with that in CERN are not natural, and nothing good is going to come of that.
Good point. Wembley had actually mentioned something that I had forgot about. I remember the creepy ritual CERN did at their opening ceremony. So they had this crazy ceremony. It was like almost like a demonic type of ceremony, satanistic or something. And they're doing this ceremony by this, I don't know, the statue has like 12 arms or something like that they have out in front of this building, and you know, everyone's saying it's a demon and this and that. So we get into the religious kind of connection here of demons, and you get that old adage of God supposedly gave planet Earth to the devil as his kind of realm to get the human race to either decide that they are his or God's beings. What are your thoughts on stuff like that, about how, it goes way back in the Bible, things like that with the devil and God?
Well, you're opening up a huge book for me if you go that route.
Oh yeah.
I don't have the time tonight to discuss all that, but
that's a whole other show.
You can go so deep, right?
I jump on and over, man. I go all over.
You try to, as a human being, you try to just accept what you can and understand what you can, and just know that there's way more out there than we know. There's got to be, right? We're not supposed to know everything. With what we know, we were given enough intelligence to know that there's way more out there than we're aware of, right? But we don't know what it is, and we won't until someday, right? Hopefully. And that's the crazy thing about it, is you can talk about all this stuff, and you can talk about what people saw, you can talk about what they experienced, in every realm, whether it be seeing Bigfoot, a UFO encounter, or I'm sorry, UFO abduction, Travis Walton, all that stuff. But who really knows? Who really knows? And the Skinwalker Ranch and on these portals, there's something out there more than what we're taught as human beings, right? As humans, as we're growing up, as we're taught in school, as we're taught from our government, in life in general. There's more out there. We know this. What it is, we don't know.
Right.
And maybe the government can tell us some things, but they're not going to. But I think there's a lot out there more that no one knows. And, that's how it's supposed to be. If we knew everything, what good would it be? Right. I mean, what would be the point?
And we wouldn't have any good shows to do either.
You'd be bored. Yeah, we wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, we'd be out of a job.
Yeah, we would be doing this. So
right.
That's kind of the beauty of it, in a way. The speculation, the wonder, the need to find out. Because without that, we'd be bored.
Agreed. Something just popped in my head. I know I'm all over, and I told you before the show, I have a number of different things I want to discuss with you guys. One of you had actually brought up the moon. Thoughts on the moon being a satellite, being inside, that it's an actual structure that was brought here. You look at specifically how perfectly the moon is set from the sun, that when they have it can perfectly block the sun when we have our I just went
eclipse.
Blank. Yes, thank you, Brian. We have the eclipse. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Number one, do you believe we went there? And number two, do you believe it's a satellite? Brian does not.
Again, man, this could be a whole other show on just this.
Okay. We'll have to bring you guys back.
I don't believe we went to the moon. I do not believe that.
No, we did not go to the moon. I have plenty of reasons to explain why we didn't go to the moon. I can
radiation belt, one of the reasons.
I can argue this all day long with people for many reasons. There's tons of reasons. And for us to believe that we went to the moon on that spacecraft that was wrapped in gold aluminum foil, are you freaking kidding me right now? Come on.
With the Van Allen
Wake
radiation
the
belt.
hell up, people. We can't go 1,000 miles out of our solar system without killing ourselves. Why the hell? I don't think that we're on Mars. There's no way that we sent a Range Rover to Mars. That's bullshit. That is all filmography. There's no way, dude. No way. I'm sorry. Believe what you want. Be mad at me for it. Didn't happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody should respect everybody's opinion and what you believe. you have, like I just mentioned, it's called the Van Allen radiation belt, that the radiation supposedly is so strong that there's just, according to how strong it is, there's no way with the ship that they had back then, they say that they could have made it. The one line that absolutely infuriates me and makes me upset is when I hear that one line that NASA, never a straight answer, by the way, it stands for, says that, oh, we lost the technology to go to the moon. That pisses me off when I hear that one. How did you lose the technology?
And why haven't we been back?
There's more technology right here.
Well, I mean, you say you lost the technology
they had in the space shuttle or in the space program.
If that was the case, then you would find it again, redevelop it, and you would go back.
And the technology we have now compared to Brian, you just showed your phone. The power in our phone is so much more powerful than what they had in the entire space capsule and rocket and everything. It's just, it's a big question. What are you just?
So there's no way you can't tell me. You'll never convince me that we were at the moon in 1968. Nope. No way.
Now, do you, without, and I know it's
where did they put that big ass car?
Yeah, where did that car? How did they get that car? Okay,
where'd that car come from?
When it shows that thing taking off when they're leaving the moon, and it's showing it going up, who's filming that? They leave some dude on the moon with a camera. How'd they get? Okay, and if they just left the camera on the moon to show them, how'd they go back and get it? Then they come up with this whole theory of, well, that was not the real moon footage because we couldn't film it, but that was a reenactment. We did a reenactment. Oh, okay. So now you're admitting it was a reenactment. Didn't happen. And the Earth is round. It's not flat, by the way. Just to know.
Do you guys believe that the moon was put there?
On by God or
no, by alien race?
Have you heard?
I don't know.
Have you heard that I think it was on another one on Ancient Aliens, where they shot the thing to the moon and it hit the moon and the moon rang and it rang and it rang and it rang like it was made of metal and hollow. You ever heard that?
I didn't hear that, but it's
look that one up.
Yeah, that's one of the most famous lines, is it rang like a bell for hours.
Here's one for you. Why does the moon glow at night? Why does the moon glow?
Isn't it?
And it's not that's not the sun reflecting. There's inner energy in that planet.
And they
glows
have
for a reason. There's lights. There's energy in that planet. That's why it does that. There's no reason.
They have pictures and video of lights coming off of the moon, of gases or something being released from the moon. I 100% believe that the moon is hollow, that it is a technology, that it was put there
I think it's
by somebody. Yeah, I
the
really
aliens
do.
are hanging out, watching over us.
I really do. And you get people, there's people out there that have some really amazing telescopes that don't work for the government. They've got pictures of like.
And again, this all comes back to Hollywood. Where do you think the idea of the Death Star came from?
Yeah, wow, good point.
Space station shaped like a planet.
Star Wars, man.
Again, soft disclosure from a movie from Hollywood. But some of those people have video of, and pictures of, looks like there's structures on the moon. They've caught
ours.
No. And there's been, craft coming across the face of the moon that they have video of out there. That's not AI. That's real video that some people have caught. Well, it's definitely something we'll have to bring you guys back on and get into this one. I know we're getting here towards the end. I'd love to come on your channel again and chat with you guys.
Yeah, man, this is fun
for sure.
You gotta do it again.
I'm so happy you guys got to come on. Is there anything that you guys would like to talk about before we get going, or bring up, or?
No, man, we just appreciate you having us on, and it was great interacting with you and talking about all this stuff. And we definitely got to do it again, because I know we can talk for hours and hours and hours
We
and
can.
hours about all this stuff. There's so many topics going on, but we just really appreciate you bringing us on the show, having us on, and just love hanging out with you, and glad that we got to know you.
Thank you, brother.
Be your friend. I know we haven't met in person sometime, but we got to hook up at a show or something, man. Down
that's
the road.
why I mentioned
that. You say that, because that's what I was just going to say. September, the Indiana Bigfoot Conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down
in Nashville, Indiana, and we're going to be there. So you should
please send me a link for that, and I'll mark that on my calendar. I would love to come and you guys have talked about that before, and I'd like to actually make it there and meet you guys in person. That is crazy. We haven't met yet in person. Yep. We got to definitely do that. And one of the things that I had mentioned is why I said I'm going to be going to some of these places around the country, and making a video. I'd love for you guys, maybe for us to collab and us to meet somewhere and do a Planet 412 Cryptid Creatures documentary on one of these haunted places.
Oh, that'd be
definitely, man. We partake in that for sure.
I would love it. And there's a number of places right in between where us that we can meet halfway, and we would do. And I really, really mean that. I'd love for us to do that. I think that would be kick ass. And
we should check out Hocking Hills sometime. We could probably meet. You're probably not too far from Hocking Hills. You're about the same distance we are.
It's about 3 hours from where I live. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. I would love to.
Definitely.
We could meet there. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, for sure. And this is not niceties. This is 100%. I'm being serious. We need to.
I'm down, man. We want to check it out anyway. We talked about that. We go to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference in Salt Fork. Maybe
I've never been there.
You're not too far from there.
You're not far from there.
That one too, but man, for us to meet up and just do some interviews and shoot some videos and go on some hikes anywhere like Hocking Hills or something like that would be fun. So I'm down. We're down.
Deal for sure. And we'll talk offline as well about, putting together. I think that would be a phenomenal documentary for us to go somewhere and hit one of these haunted asylums or something. There's one that I don't mention that and we'll mention in the green room after we finish here in a minute, that I'll tell you guys about. That's the one I'd like you guys to come. It's really an incredible place, and it's kind of a spot that we would both have to drive about the same amount of time to go to. Before we cut off, why don't you guys let everybody know what's going on with Cryptid Creatures, what's coming up?
We're just putting out our shows every week on Sunday. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get a podcast or listen to music. Everywhere. YouTube, Patreon, Cryptid Creatures. Just search for us. We got a show coming up, not until September. Like we said, the Indiana Bigfoot Conference, and then we're doing Crypticon in November, which is a big one. And Lexington, Kentucky. That is a big one. And Matt, actually, if you can make it to that one, that would be cool.
Where is this one again?
Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Lexington.
So that's a big one, man, and it's a great time.
So it's really not far. Yeah, not too
far. So we'll be there, and then next year we're trying to plan on going out to out west to Oregon.
Try to get out west,
to like the Mount Hood Bigfoot Sasquatch convention. So we're looking to get out west and hit some bigger ones next year. But that's what we're doing. We've got a lot of people lined up still. And then if you guys have had an encounter, I know you guys have been on Matt's show. A lot of people have been on Matt's show. But if you guys want to come on our show and talk to us, we'd be happy to record with you privately and talk about your encounters and get some episodes out there for you guys too. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
We're booked up for the next month and a half, I think, but they get a hold of us anyway and we'll get you in there.
Yeah, our email is info@cryptidcreatures.co. You can look us up on Facebook at Cryptid Creatures. Go on our website, cryptidcreatures.net. So that's how you get a hold of us.
Guys, make sure you go over there and do that. And Lee asked if my show is on that I did with you guys on Spotify. I would assume it is.
Yes, it is. Episode 116, Something Out of a Nightmare.
It is.
And they did a great job interviewing me. They made it very, very easy for me to do what I was really scared to do. And if it wasn't for doing that interview with you guys, honest to God, I would not be sitting where I am right now. So I want to thank you guys for doing it. And I'm honored that you guys were the first, man.
Man, we're honored that you chose us for the first one. So we're glad that happened that way. And we're glad
was ours. Yeah.
Glad to hang out with you and do this show and be your friend, brother. So
absolutely, thanks again. I'm sorry. Like I said, I went all over. I just had so many things to talk to you guys.
You're good, man. That's how we do it. So.
It was a blast. Phenomenal. Well, everybody, we are gonna get going. So I want to thank everybody while you guys are still here. That came to the show tonight. That were good enough to stick with us and listen. It was really awesome to have everybody here. And if you guys will hang out in the green room for a minute, I will see you in a second.
Right on, brother. Thank you, guys. Great hanging out. Take care.
All right.
Thanks again, guys. And how awesome are they, huh? I love those two. They're really amazing guys. And I'm not being nice, everybody. Their channel kicks ass. You better go over there, subscribe and like and check out their stuff. They do a great job. And their merchandise is phenomenal as well. Like I said, I'm wearing their hat. I have 2 hats and a shirt. I should have wore the shirt tonight. A lot coming up on Planet 412, guys. I know over the last month I've been kind of in and out. I had some stuff I had to take care of and deal with. So I have a lot of stuff that's about to pop out. I'm working on multiple videos that are going to be coming out soon. We'll do more live streams. No more breaks for Matt. So for Todd and Brian, for myself, Planet 412, thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Love you all, and we will definitely see you next time.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it greatly helps out the channel. I'll see you next time on Planet 412.